Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the follow-up to my story of one of the worst fundraisers in the history of Twitch video. This video is meant to talk about the video's creation and address a few things people have brought up in the comments section, as well as me going over where my content and this channel will likely be going from here. If you need a comparison, think of those Q&A videos that the Internet Historian does on his incognito mode channel. By the way, huge shout out to the guy who called me a budget Internet Historian. They may be one of my favorite comments. I will also be discussing what has been happening with Phil since the fundraiser video was released. But before that, I just want to give a great big shout out and thank you to everyone who saw the original video, liked it, commented on it, shared it, all that. I never could have imagined that it would have the reach and exposure that it did. I thought if I got even 10,000 views that would be it. Like, I could be happy with what I made. The fact that it's over 130,000 and so much positivity has been shown in the forms of comments and likes and even critical comments, like, I'm just floored by that. And thanks to everyone who took the time to go and watch the video. I hope to keep making great content for you in the future, but for now, let's get back to Phil. I, like many DSP observers, watched the fundraiser and the events leading up to it as it all played out. After it went down, I didn't say to myself, oh my god, the world needs to know about this. But a weird thing happened. As I mentioned at the end of the previous video, I had been watching a lot of Rise and Fall videos, and I was always a fan of their delivery style and how they explain things. Part of a script for a video about the fundraiser kept building itself in my head, and it just kept growing and growing to the point where it was keeping me up at night, and I said, I have to get this out in some way. So I got all that I could out on paper, or rather Notepad++ on my computer. Since then I've learned it's better to use Google Docs so I can edit the document wherever I want, and not just on one computer. Then I recorded the script in Audacity over 2 marathon sessions. Seriously, recording voiceovers for these isn't as easy as it sounds. And then got all the other visual assets together and put it together using VSDC free video editor. Yes, in spite of what DSP would have you believe, competent free editing software is available out there on the internet, and VSDC is just one of those many programs. Granted, it's not as robust as something like Adobe Premiere Pro or After Effects or Vegas Pro, but videos like these don't exactly require top-of-the-line expensive software to create. As I mentioned, I have a wife and 3 kids and also some ADHD, so it's hard to focus on working on things like this, especially in the evening when I have the most free time. Luckily, I had some downtime at my work around the same time, so I was able to fit in some time during my peak productivity hours. I got the video out during the Memorial Day holiday weekend, and the rest is history. I really didn't know the best way to present the marathon itself in my video. For one, it's a bit of a beast to deal with. The raw footage of the event itself clocks in at nearly 9.5 hours, and going through all that footage to pick out the best parts would have likely delayed the video release date, which I had targeted for the end of May. Also, there weren't any real interesting parts to the video itself. As I mentioned, it's just Phil playing Mass Effect 1 for an extended period. It would have been hard to make compelling content for about anyone playing this, not just Phil. I mean, I'm playing through the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect 1 myself, and I don't stream it mainly because I don't think anyone would find it interesting. Also, it is a bit weird to think that this video is about a fundraiser, but only 10 minutes out of a 60-minute video actually covers it. Still, given what I had to work with, I think this was probably the best way to go about it. There are some other videos that go in a bit more depth about the fundraiser, including the one I have playing here in the background by Brittany Gates, and some others I have linked in the description of this video. I was debating putting the Street Fighter Cookbook segment in because I didn't think it was really relevant to the story, hence why it's presented as a bit of a side story, chapter 3.5. However, seeing the response that I got, I'm glad I left it in, as it does justify one of the main points about Phil, in that he is not willing to go above and beyond simply playing video games to make money, even if his fans are rallying behind him doing so. Also, the utter anger in Phil's response to this request is rather telling, as it shows just how awful he can come off at times. I showed this clip to one of my friends who had never heard of DSP, and he was shocked by it. He said, I can't believe he talks to his fans like this. Phil has been asked to bring back Cooking with the King, where DSP tries it for a while, and maybe he just lost his cool, but given that he never apologized for how he reacted to it, one can assume that he meant every word of what he said. I do apologize though for how I presented this incident in my video. Upon reflection, I should have shown more of the build-up and how his chat was reacting to the possibility of bringing cooking back as content. I showed what I did for brevity's sake, but I think for closure you should see how this whole thing played out and how the chat reacted. So here is the incident courtesy of Dark Dave Mirror's feed. If you don't care to view this, feel free to skip to the next chapter or fast forward to the timestamp on the screen now.
Some asshole coming in here trying to cause fucking problems. So Refund that shit. Sorry, I don't need your unverified tip and your drama hounding. Get the fuck off my stream. Okay, then. Yeah, Timbo, I saw you say this the other day. So he said, listen to this. He says, listen to this. They're making an official Street Fighter cookbook. And it's coming out on June 1st. And he's curious if I would buy it and try to make some of the recipes. A Street Fighter cookbook. First of all, what in the holy hell will be in that cookbook? Like, I've seen these ridiculously themed cookbooks before. I remember back in the day from Think Geek, when they used to exist, I bought a Star Wars cookbook. And it was the most stupid things. It was like Darth Vader's dark chocolate brownies. Like, what? Yes, I'm sure Vader, whose body is hideously deformed from lava burns, is going to be standing in front of an oven baking brownies. This sounds very in character for him, right? So what this is, obviously, this is going to be some kind of a very silly tie-in cookbook. That's going to, it's not going to have any association with anything Street Fighter related. They're going to be like, Dalzim's spicy coconut curry bowl. Guile's all-American baby back ribs. It's going to be nothing to do with Street Fighter. They'll just slap a fucking Street Fighter name on it and have a bunch of freaking recipes, right? I've seen it before. What? They have Guile making an everything bagel. See, I knew it. Because they say Guile's theme goes with everything. So Guile makes an everything bagel. Oh my god. So anyway, it's going to be silly. Now the thing is, people are saying, will I get it? I mean, that's a book. Maybe that would be something funny to talk about and have on stream. I don't think that's something that I would use. I don't think I would want to make a single one of those recipes. They're probably going to be terrible recipes anyway. Is it something silly that maybe I would, actually, buy and mess around with on a stream? Maybe. Okay? But no. Baldy says you can make it for DSP Tries It. DSP Tries It is not a cooking show. Oh, man. How many times do I have to get this through people's heads? All right. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, hold on. No, this is serious business, all right? I have to go full screen for this. Ladies and gentlemen, Cooking with the King ended 10 years ago. And try that again. 10 years ago. I haven't made Cooking with the King in a decade. I don't make cooking videos. I'm not a cook. It was a silly series that I made in a very short period of time, probably 1 year, because I was looking to diversify my content for YouTube at the time. At the time, I could not actually monetize gameplay videos on YouTube. So I needed to find something else to monetize so that I could supplement the cost of all the games that I was buying to play on my gameplay channels. So I did DSP Tries It, I did travel logs, and I did, yes, Cooking with the King. It was a joke series. It was not to be taken seriously. I wasn't actually trying to cook really good high quality food. It was supposed to be a very dumb series meant as a joke. All right? People have been asking for it for a decade. No! I'm not a cook. I have no aspirations to learn how to cook. I don't want to cook. Cooking does not fit into the kind of content that I make. Cooking does not fit into my schedule. I'm not going to be making Cooking with the King anymore. It's not going to happen. It's been 10 fucking years. Get it through your heads. I'm not a cook. All right? Now, admittedly, when my wife first moved in with me 3 years ago, which was before she was my wife, I teased that if we had a certain amount of goals hit, I think it was a sub goal for a month, we would bring back Cooking with the King, and what it would be is my wife and I would make a meal together, and if people liked it, maybe it would be an ongoing series. We didn't even hit the subs goal that month. So it's obvious no one cared. But you know what it is? It's because I say I don't want to do something or I'm not going to do something, then everyone piles on and asks for it. It's only when I say no, oh, well, we have to be contrarian to anything Phil says and does, we want it. If I said right now I'm bringing back Cooking with the King, everyone would be like, oh, who cares? That's how it is. So No, I'm not a cook. Cooking with the King is not coming back. Ever. All right? Ever. It's never coming back as a series. Never. All right, let's try this one more time. No. Never, ever is Cooking with the King coming back. I'm not a cook. It's not happening. Stop asking. No. Okay. So, Baldy, no. Well, hold on. No. I'm not going to be doing a Street Fighter recipe on DSP Tries It. DSP Tries It is not a cooking show. It is a show where I or mostly food that's already pre-cooked. It's a taste testing show, essentially. It's been for many, many years. Okay? Fair enough? Special delivery. The other thing is, like, you gotta understand, I don't have the means to do it. I don't have a camcorder or a camera anymore that could film in anywhere like except for my office. No, filming with the phone is not good enough. I don't have editing software. Like, I don't have any of the means I would need to do what you would want for a cooking show. It's just not gonna happen. No. And then you got idiots. Oh, he's lazy. He's so lazy. Yeah, someone who's here 6 days a week full-time streaming only has 1 day a week to even spend with his wife is lazy. How about this? Fuck you.
Do you want to play
How about
the
I ask you this?
game?
How much time do you have to yourself to do stuff, right? Oh, that's right. Way more than me.
Business related.
So, fuck off. Grow up. Okay. All right. Anything else?
I wanted to clarify a few things about the WWE Champions controversy and give a more detailed picture about the situation. For one, the $40,000 figure that was listed in the video was only the amount for the VIP level that Phil had achieved. It did not take into account any of our microtransactions associated with the game. So $40,000 was just the bare minimum amount of money that Phil had spent, and this was back in early 2020. While there's no real way to get an exact amount of money that Phil has spent since then, given that he has consistently stayed near the top of the leaderboard since he started being tracked, it is apparent that Phil is still spending a significant amount of money within the game. Estimates range from $80,000 to over $100,000 spent so far. Just to give a recent example of Phil's spending, there was an event where it was discovered that Phil had spent approximately $2,641 and ended in 11th place. This proves that not only is Phil still spending lots of money on the game, but that there are numerous others spending even more than he is. Hell, even after the event, he changed his name on Twitter to DSP the Immortal. Speaking of changing names, I also would like to point out that Phil changing his WWE Champions username was extremely uncommon. Unlike most games, WWE Champions does not allow you out of the box to change your name from within the game. Phil had to contact the developer support in order to get this done, and it should be noted other people have tried this in the past and have not been successful. Even more incredibly, Down from the Rafters is special in that it has more characters in its name than what the game allows out of the box. They allowed Phil to change his name to one that wasn't even feasible within the app itself. Phil had to be spending a lot of money to justify the game's developers bending the rules just for him.
That's not begging. That's business.
Some people have asked why anyone would want to donate money to Phil. Honestly, that can be an entire separate series. I do plan on covering part of this in one of my upcoming videos, but I would suggest in the meantime to check out Super Crazy's YouTube channel, where he has been making videos that analyze some of Phil's past and present larger whale contributors. As far as Phil's minnow contributors go, there's definitely people out there who either troll donate, where they use an insulting name and or message and then donate so Phil has to see it, or some people bait donate, where they send a particular message meant to bait him into going off on some sort of rant that will likely make Phil look like an idiot. Most people, even detractors, frown upon doing these because at the end of the day, Phil will still be making money even if you troll or bait donate to him.
And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Some people were quick to point out that this wasn't Phil's only fundraiser. I alluded to this in the lead up to the Mass Effect Fundraiser, that he had had previous events where the goal wasn't reached, but he still survived. However, there were others where the goals were reached, and what Phil did for his supporters was either unexpected or just a flat-out lie. One was the Project 7 fundraiser of 2015. Project 7 was a web series that Phil had made with his collaborators and supposed friends, Howard and John Rambo, a few years prior to when Phil was still living in Connecticut. It ended before all the plans planned episodes were made. Phil made a Patreon goal that stated that he would make more episodes for the series if it was reached. When it was, Phil backtracked and said it wasn't for a full episode, but rather a trailer, which wasn't in the original pitch, and then never even did that. Also, when he made it clear that he wasn't going to happen, he refused to give any refunds on the project because, according to him, since it was a Patreon goal, he had no way of knowing which of his supporters were pledging to get the goal versus those that weren't. In April of 2019, he held a fundraiser to raise $5,000 to use as a good faith down payment towards qualifying for a payment plan to pay all his back taxes. He only reached around $1,300 of it. He then went on a trip back to Connecticut to introduce his then girlfriend Kat to his parents, where they ended up getting married, which led to speculation that the fundraiser was not used to pay off the tax bill, but rather pay for the trip and or the wedding. Phil has denied that this was the case and said that everything was paid for by his parents. Finally, in August of the same year, he did a fundraiser stream with the promise of a big reveal if the goal of $1,000 was reached. When it was, he introduced his cat Jasper to everyone. Just to clarify, he did not use the money raised to adopt Jasper. Jasper had been adopted and was living with Phil and Kat since before they were even married, and there was even a clip of DSP lying about not owning a cat a few months prior. The money was raised simply to introduce Jasper to everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got someone I'd like you to meet. Come on up here. Come on up here, buddy.
What?
You want to come up here? Or you want me to pick you up? Someone who actually is not a new addition to the family. Someone who I'm going to introduce you to today, who has been a part of our lives for quite some time, in fact.
Flashback.
Super Flash said, would you and Kat get a cat if chat helped pay? I mean, maybe. Like, now we've decided we're definitely staying here in this house, so that's not really a concern. It would be more of a money thing. But, I mean, Kat really wants a cat, so just saying.
End of flashback.
I don't plan on doing videos about those events because plenty already exist, and I will provide links to them in the description of this video.
Shut the fuck up. Get a job.
One of the most common questions is why Phil doesn't just abandon streaming altogether and get a quote real job, or why doesn't he do streaming part-time and supplement his income via a normal job? The short answer is this.
I need a life. Get a job! I don't want a job.
The long answer is that when you put it all on paper, in Phil's eye, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Phil to abandon streaming and get a regular 9-to-5 job. Now, I am not defending Phil's position, as it will become quite evident soon, but rather I am just putting all the facts out there. Let's look at Phil's current job situation. He works from 10:45 a.m. to approximately 4 p.m. He then takes around a 2.5-hour break, then works from 6:45 p.m. to approximately 9:30 p.m. Phil is not beholden to these hours. He can change them at any time for any reason. He can also take a break whenever he wants, for however long he wants. Let's not forget the whole time he's working, he's playing video games and talking to people. Finally, he's making between approximately $100,000 and $150,000 a year doing this. The amount of skill and effort that Phil puts into his source of revenue is minimal at best, yet he is still making more money than approximately 75% of the people in the United States. Phil, by sitting and playing video games by himself in his own home, is making more than 3 out of 4 income earners in the United States. Phil is not qualified to make anywhere near the amount of money that he makes now from streaming via a regular full-time 9-to-5 job. His past work history, which includes just a few retail jobs and his work at a helicopter company doing office work, has been bookended by his 12-plus year content creation career. He has gained virtually no skills during this time that can be used in other professions. He can't go back to being an esports competitor. The only game that he could in theory participate in would be Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but there's not enough money in this to do as a full-time thing, not to mention Phil is way past his prime in terms of skill. And when he was in his prime, his best ranking was 4th in a tournament that used a faulty version of the game and was boycotted by many of the highest ranking players in the world. He can't be an esports commentator if his streams are any indicators to his abilities. He can't even work in video production as his skills seem to be limited to video splicing and creating thumbnails. To be fair, he did start doing some sort of video production when he introduced his other channel, KO Gaming, but that quickly went by the wayside because Phil was spending too much time editing videos that weren't generating enough income to justify all the work. Also, the work that was done was comparable to what I did when I tried doing video game reviews, and all you need to do is look at my past stuff to see that it's no shock that IGN and GameSpot were never banging down my door to give me job offers. Even if Phil was qualified for a job that was related to what he's been doing for the past 12 years, his history is likely to work against him. Assuming a potential employer Googles him, they're bound to find a long and detailed history of Phil's past transgressions. You don't even have to go to Kiwi Farms to see a very accessible list of Phil's high and low points in his career. There's literally nothing in Phil's history of creating content that indicates that he would be a reliable worker who strives to be the best employee that he can be and that can be easily maintained. Finally, if someone didn't Google him and instead just hired him and word got out about it on the internet, you can bet that said employer would be inundated with information from people who were more than willing to provide Phil's past info to them. Remember, Phil doesn't have any paid sponsorship deals, not because he's a major advocate for complete independence as an artist, but rather it's because he simply can't get them. Earlier in his career, he actually did have some minor sponsorship deals, but as time went on and his popularity lessened, so did all the offers. Phil hasn't been able to secure anything successfully since moving to Washington, outside of a few early review copies of some games and then one shady gaming chair sponsorship. Phil often plays this up as the trolls fucking him over. Fact is though that for the most part, what the quote trolls provide is just facts about Phil. If Phil didn't do these things, there'd be nothing for the trolls to provide. That leaves entry-level, unskilled positions that don't require an extensive background check as the most likely candidates for Phil, such as retail or simple office work jobs. For reference, as of January 2021, the minimum wage in the state of Washington is $13.69 an hour. But let's be generous and round this up to $15. Now, as a new worker, it is highly unlikely that Phil will be able to get a full-time position at any hourly rate job that he gets. The state of Washington defines part-time as 31 hours or less a week. Assuming the best case scenario of 31 hours, which he likely won't get immediately anyways, Phil can bring in, before fees and standard withholdings, approximately $465 a week. If by some miracle he can get a full-time job, that gets bumped up to $600 a week or $31,200 a year. That's around $100,000 less than what he's making now, doing something that he isn't going to have nearly as much enjoyment or flexibility in doing. But wait, I'm pretending to hear someone say, just like Phil pretends he's getting feedback from fans behind the scenes, Phil is a college graduate and has a degree. Couldn't he get a job in that particular field? For the record, Phil has a degree in finance from Fairfield University in Fairfield, Connecticut. Unfortunately, Phil has no real experience in the field and has never been able, in his past non-content creation jobs, to utilize what he has learned in college, as shown in this clip here.
Awesome. That's right. Not just the small ones. Every cheer is awesome. And Sims fan did a 25-bit cheer. Says, before the internet and YouTube, what were your ambitions for the future? I didn't know. Honestly, because I was in a situation in my life where I'd gone to college, university, whatever you call it, depending on where you come from. I know in like Europe, they don't call it college. They call it university. And honestly, I don't think I would ever have used it for a job, because when I went to university or college to get my higher education, at first I started as a computer science major, then that bubble burst and there were no jobs in that field. Then I swapped to business, and then I went to a finance major, and then guess what happened? Just take a wild guess. The bubble burst, all the financial shit broke down. But anyway, yeah, so I got a finance degree, and I couldn't get a job in finance because I didn't know anyone in the financial field. And basically it was like you only get a job in the field if you knew somebody. So all my education was completely wasted pretty much. And then I ended up doing a bunch of jobs. I was a loan officer at a Wells Fargo Financial, which was a joke because I was basically a predatory lending branch of the company. Left that within a year. Then I went to Best Buy for Business, and I sold server equipment, laptops, and shit like that to small business owners. Then after that, I went to an office job where I was customer service for a helicopter company. It's like, you know what I mean? Never did I ever like settle into something that seemed like it would be long-term good. Honestly, I thought the office job I had with the helicopter company would last. They've laid like so many people off, and now they don't even exist anymore where I used to work or nothing, the way that they did when I was there. So it's just so freaking weird how stuff works out. Did I ever think I would be doing gaming for a living? No. See what I mean? Like my life has just been so random in that regard. I'm very, very lucky to be where I am and doing what I'm doing, quite honestly. Because my plans, I really had none. I didn't know what was going to happen. I never had that set out, oh, this is your plan for life, and this is what you want to do, ambitions. I didn't know how things would go.
On a side note, I couldn't help but laugh when he said that he started in computer science, but switched because of the dot-com crash of 2000 and 2001. For reference, I myself went into school for computer information systems during the same time in New England. We were all told to not worry about the job market because we weren't going to be entering it until 2004, when the market would be done correcting itself as a result of the crash. By the time I graduated, the tech industry had well recovered from the crash and I had been employed in the field for about 95% of my post-college life. Phil's jump to finance at such an early time in his college career is indicative of the belief that Phil only went to where he thought the big money was or panicked at the first sign of adversity, and as a result ended up in him getting a useless degree. If by some miracle he were to get a job using his degree, it'd likely just be in a commissions-based sales type position, and if there's anything Phil has shown us, is that he's not exactly what you'd call a people person. Some have suggested that Phil should simply do streaming part-time as supplemental income. This is what many content creators do, as simply streaming or creating YouTube content even with extra tips or Patreon accounts isn't enough to sustain most people. However, one thing to keep in mind is that in these cases, most people start off with a regular job and then add content creation later, not the other way around. As much as people like to shit on Phil's lack of work effort, he is undeniably consistent when it comes to his work. He streams at the same times almost every day when it's not his day off, and he lays out many days in advance what he plans on playing, cards subject to change of course. Phil will likely not be able to stick to a consistent streaming schedule if he takes on another job. If it's a part-time job, then he will likely be subject to a varying and inconsistent schedule, one that oftentimes is given with varying levels of notice, meaning you may not know until Friday what your work schedule might be like for Saturday. Phil is also no stranger to this fact since his wife works this exact same type of schedule for her job, and given Phil's reaction to this in this clip here, it's obvious he's not a fan of it.
Off, how many days will I be streaming this week, etc. It seems like there's actually going to be consistency, unlike how it was for the past 3 months. Because Kat is now moving into this new shift, it seems like everything will actually be set out weeks ahead of time, like it's supposed to be when you actually have a job that's being taken seriously. Seriously, how on earth, and I just got to say this, how on earth there are jobs out there that think that they are like dictating your life? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is a retail job, but you think that you're going to tell me the day before if I work tomorrow? You think you're not even going to give me the schedule until like the day before the next week? Like, on what planet do you fucking live that you think this job is important enough to me that my entire life has to be dictated because you're lazy and you can't put out a fucking schedule in any kind of a rational period of time? I mean, if you're a manager at any job, in particular a retail job, one of your primary core responsibilities is to make the fucking schedule. And if you can't do that, you have failed at one of the core designs of your job, and you shouldn't have a job. I'm just saying, I mean, it's common sense, but that's the problem, sadly, in retail America, is that a lot of these places don't have common sense, okay?
What about a full-time job with a consistent but reduced streaming schedule? In theory, this is probably Phil's best option. However, I don't think even in Phil's mind, this is even an option. Disregarding the previous math calculations I presented earlier, Phil has shown for years that he is a consistent creature of habit that wants to do the least work possible in order to get the maximum return. Phil didn't even embrace direct capture until the vast majority of his audience demanded that he do so. He was still recording stuff directly off of his TV using a digital camera long after many people had moved on and embraced direct capture. He also still uses an outdated webcam connected to an outdated laptop and is capturing and streaming via an outdated computer. The only new piece of technology he has is a PS5, which he barely even got due to a PayPal funds issue. Because of this, he's basically become a console-only streamer, minus a select few low-intensity PC games. He hasn't reinvested in his business or content creation methods for years. He doesn't even use a green screen or make any effort to fix up the scuff marks on the wall behind him. It is safe to say that Phil lives in his comfort zone and needs to be pulled kicking and screaming out of it. And as such, as long as Phil can make over 6 figures sitting on his butt playing video games, he is going to do it. Still, Phil seemingly realizes that his current plan of being a full-time streamer isn't a viable long-term solution. In fact, back in April of 2019, when he was back in Connecticut visiting his family, according to Phil, he and his mother had a deep discussion about Phil's long-term financial future.
All right? And, sitting there having this honest conversation, my mom said, well, here's the deal. She's like, I need you to commit to a fact that you're going to do some life changes in the short term and the long term. You know, you're killing yourself financially because you have all these situations going on with the finances behind the scenes of everything. You're killing yourself to even make ends meet and pay your bills. So essentially, we had this very long and important conversation. Okay. How long can I do this? I can't do this forever. She has a point. What could I do? Maybe another 10 years? Top 15 tops? So in reality, what she's basically saying is that I need to not quit what I do, but I do in the long term need to figure out what else am I going to do. And she's right. I agree with her after thinking about it. Being completely honest with everyone. What I need to kind of do is get myself to a financial situation where I don't have to work all day on stream. Maybe where I can do like, all right, my finances are in a situation where now I don't owe so much that I have to literally make a ridiculous amount of money to pay the minimum payments on everything. And so that way I can stream less and I can maybe go get a job that's an entry-level job that pays less than what I make streaming, but it won't matter because I won't owe all this debt to everyone and I won't need to make that much money anymore. You see what I mean? But that's not a short-term thing. There's no overnight fix to you owe less money to the world. You see what I mean? So this is something that's going to come in time where maybe, you know, again, maybe within 10 years, I can fix things financially behind the scenes where I'm not bleeding every month financially. And I can stream less and I can go get another job and balance my life with that. So after this long, I mean, this was hours. This conversation was hours. All right. After this long conversation with my parents, finally, basically my mom said, well, since you can't go on the honeymoon, you know, how much do you need to get on this payment plan for these taxes and basically not get completely screwed over? I told her, she gave me the money. Here's the thing. This money came with conditions. She says, your dad and I are old. We can't work anymore. She's like, we got to retire. This is it. You know, we can't do anything else. We can't help you if this happens again. So you have to commit to doing what you're saying you're going to do. Because if you don't, we have nothing else. This is it. This is the end of it. You know, this is the end all be all. You know, my mom talked a lot of sense into me. I agree with her. And it's just something that eventually, inevitably, what I'm hoping to happen here is let's say within 10 years, it has to be a 10-year transition. My credit gets ruined, but because I'm not paying the crazy credit card payments anymore. I'm not paying for this black hole condo in Connecticut. That money goes towards taxes and pays my basic bills. And now things finally start to go down to the point where, let's say in 10 years, now I don't have to do full-time streaming anymore and I could go look for a job and I could balance that with the streaming until eventually we phase out and I'm in a position where I'm healthy and I'm not overworking myself.
However, on June 18th, 2021, when someone asked Phil about the 10-year plan, the plan that according to him was the deal that he made with his mother in return for her helping him with his back tax payments, Phil responded like this.
Brazil to me $1.30 said, what happened to the 10-year plan? What happened to the 10-year plan? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? I swear to God, people bring shit up from like random shit years and years ago, like it's something pertinent to today, you know? I just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Thanks for the tip.
I'm sure all of you watching this can see that Phil has not planned for the long term here. Even though it makes total sense for Phil to at least do some planning for life after streaming, all signs point to this not happening anytime soon. Any sort of quote real job will be forcing Phil to do something that he doesn't like doing and will likely negatively affect his ability to generate income in the manner that he likes doing. The behavior he exhibits while streaming will likely not be tolerated in a normal job setting, especially in an entry-level position where new workers are usually easy to come by. In conclusion, Phil most definitely should be supplementing his income so that he isn't so reliant on viewer contributions, but at the end of the day, you can lead a dog to water, but you can't force it to drink.
I'm ready to game, bro! Who's ready? Come on, who's ready?
Since my fundraiser video was released, Phil hasn't had any major recent drama akin to went down before and after the marathon, but there still have been some notable bits. As mentioned in the previous video, Phil jumped to YouTube after Twitch suspended him for accidentally saying the N-word on his stream via a verbal stutter. Phil has also been maintaining his innocence in regards to getting kicked out of the partnership program because Twitch has yet to provide him with hard evidence of him using hateful slurs on his streams, going so far as to call Twitch liars. The move to YouTube has not exactly been smooth. One of the main reasons why Phil did not jump to YouTube immediately after losing his partnership was, aside from potentially losing many of his viewers, was that the chat and interaction experience would not be the same as it was on Twitch. The fact is that YouTube is still playing catch up to Twitch when it comes to user chat and interaction. There are no animated emotes, there are less emotes available, and most importantly, the chat system is harder to moderate. While Phil definitely had issues and trolls in his Twitch chat, they were exacerbated when he switched over to YouTube. Making multiple YouTube accounts is amazingly quick and easy, so even if a user was banned from Phil's chat, it was trivial to create a brand new account to continue to troll him. There is no better evidence of this than on his Virtua Fighter 5 premiere stream on June 3rd, 2021, where the entire stream was derailed a number of times because DSP had to stop playing in order to moderate his chat or else risk getting his stream shut down due to lack of intervention. To counteract this, aside from making sure that he had multiple mods in his gameplay streams from then on, he also instituted subscriber-only chat, which was similar to followers-only mode on Twitch. Basically, you are not allowed to participate in Phil's chat unless you have been a subscriber for at least 24 hours. While this significantly cut down on the amount of troll users and troll comments in the chat, it also had the unintended side effect of making the chat a virtual ghost town, as many people did not feel like subscribing to DSP Gaming and getting their subfeed inundated with his videos on an almost daily basis just to be able to chat with him.
Alright, I've had enough. Seriously, I've had enough. There's a bunch of people who came in here today and all they're doing is talking shit and they're trying to be dicks. Oh, the community's dead. Phil, the community's dead. You're all gonna get banned. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if we drop 20 viewers. I don't give a fuck. 20 idiots come in here. There's people enjoying the stream, having fun. And you have 20 people. Hey, there's no one on the stream. No one's talking. The community's dead. Shut the fuck up. You're the only one who's being negative. Seriously. I'm gonna take all these idiots who are in here and just boot them. I'm just gonna boot them right the fuck out, so we don't have to put up with their bullshit. Because I'm having fun. I can't respond. I'm in an action-packed game where I obviously have to focus on the game. I'm already dying and everything. Oh, now's our chance to come into Phil's chat and spam toxic shit. No, fuck off. If I see it, you're out of here. I don't even care if I have to pause the game a million times to kick your asses out permanently. And by the way, it's incredibly hard to get unbanned on YouTube. It's a pain in the ass. So if you get banned, chances are you're not coming back. This ain't like Twitch where you get banned and unbanned, banned and unbanned. Alright? By the way, the reason that the viewership is lower on YouTube than it is on Twitch is because, number one, the trolls don't come in here anymore to spam shit. They just don't. They can't take control of my stream anymore. So they're going to naturally have less viewers. And number two, because YouTube doesn't have an installed viewer base like Twitch does. On Twitch, every time I stream something on Twitch, you get like maybe 50 viewers who just came in because they were searching for a game on Twitch. You don't get that on YouTube because it doesn't exist. So I'm okay. Take a look. My streams are doing fine. Support is good. People are enjoying them. People are happy. People are actually telling me who are longtime viewers, they're happier now than when I was on Twitch because it's a smaller group of people. You can actually talk to them if you want. We can have meaningful conversation, and there's not some fucking idiot complaining or spamming nonsense every 5 seconds. It's a better experience overall. And by the way, this will catch up. We will catch up. Things will get better. More people will come here to watch these playthroughs consistently. It's a growing thing. This is only a month I've been doing it. And by the way, how many big high-profile games were out in the last month? Zero. This was the only one, and this game has gotten boring. Do you see? So why do you think that the viewership is what it is? You're not going to get a giant influx of people at a point like this, right? Maybe come, July, August, when a lot of new games start coming out, August, September, all of a sudden now, people who want to watch me play the new games are going to show up. There's nothing I can do about it right now. All I can do is appease the people who are here no matter what. And I am. They're telling me I am. So these idiots who come in here, who don't even know who they are, sitting in the chat, oh, Phil streams are dead. The community's dead. The fuck are you talking about? Once again, we have well over 200 people here on the stream. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. However, you guys might want to talk. I'm just saying. Chat is slow. You have a lot of people talking, man. Come on.
It has also brought into question legitimacy of Phil's YouTube membership numbers. On Twitch, Phil's subscriber numbers, which is the equivalent to YouTube memberships, was always helped by the fact that, for one, many viewers on Twitch were Amazon Prime members, which also made them Twitch Prime members, which allowed them to give one free subscription to the streamer of their choice. This meant that users could financially support Phil via subscription, but not pay any money to do so outside of their Amazon or Twitch Prime membership. Secondly, Twitch allows for people to gift subs, meaning that a user could pay the subscription costs on someone else's behalf. This again meant that a user could get various subscriber benefits without paying any money. Subs are also extremely easy to gift and receive. It is not uncommon for popular streamers to have subs gifted en masse to their followers. Hell, I was even gifted a sub by one of Phil's known contributors shortly before Phil lost his partnership. YouTube, as of June 2021, does not allow gifted memberships. However, as mentioned earlier, it is ridiculously easy to create multiple YouTube accounts, and thus it is ridiculously easy to make multiple membership accounts. The fact that Phil has over 150 paying members but has such little chat interaction and member turnout during his streams has led many to believe that these are not real people who are becoming members to Phil's channel. Rather, they are just multiple accounts created by Phil's supporters that exist to support Phil financially, as well as make becoming a member of Phil's channel more appealing. As a YouTube channel owner, as you reach certain membership numbers, you earn the ability to add more member-only emotes to your chat system. Phil had built up a lot of custom emotes while on Twitch and was not able to bring them all over to YouTube because of his membership restriction. By having his membership numbers increased, his custom emotes increased as well. However, until YouTube allows memberships to be gifted, odds are Phil's membership numbers are going to stay much lower than his old Twitch subscriber numbers. Phil has also sparked some controversy among his fans when he shocked everyone by admitting this publicly.
I'm an evil, dirty, heinous scammer who steals money from little children.
Sorry, I just love that clip. Specifically, back in February 2021, Phil started playing Divinity Original Sin 2. This was a viewer's choice game where fans could nominate any game they wanted and then people could vote on it. It should be noted that Phil was not beholden to any game that was nominated and won. After all, it would have been well within Phil's power to veto a playthrough of something he knew he wouldn't like before it was started. However, according to Phil, he did next to no research before playing the game, saying that all he knew is that it was a grid-based combat system like Fire Emblem. He knew nothing about the mechanics of the game, how it was played, or the length of it. On average, the game takes about 100 hours to complete. Over time, Phil showed less and less interest in playing the game, and started to get frustrated when he wasn't making much progress throughout it. He then moved it from a mainstream game to a chill stream game. He also kept adding newer games onto the schedule, to the point where he was playing the game once a week and then eventually once every 2 weeks. After weeks of venting his frustrations with the game that his viewers voted on, that he could have vetoed back in February, on June 10th, 2021, on part 56 of his playthrough, he went on a nearly 25-minute rant explaining that he didn't know what he was getting into because he did no prior research before starting the game in regards to gameplay style and length, and that if he had done so, he likely wouldn't have played the game. He also claimed that he is only still playing it because it was a viewer's choice playthrough, which was done as a reward for hitting a sub goal on Twitch, meaning that this was a reward for people paying Phil. He also tried to claim that many of his fans had gotten bored of the game as well, and that they were asking him to stop in chat and, quote, behind the scenes. Finally, he stated that he was going to put the game on indefinite hiatus until his gaming schedule cleared up a bit, and he had more time available to dedicate to the game. Later on June 16th, when he went over what he would be playing in the coming months with his viewers, when people asked about Divinity Original Sin 2, Phil responded like this.
A few people are saying play Divinity. Fuck no. You're out of your mind. I just put Divinity on hold because I hate the fucking game. It's boring as shit. And I said, in the future, if I have a lengthy amount of time to dedicate to it and I feel like playing it, I'll play it. I'm not going to go immediately bring it fucking back and play it and hate it again. No. I'm going to do stuff I want to fucking do on my streams so I'm entertained and I'm not falling asleep here on stream. Okay? Fuck no, Divinity is not coming back. It probably will in the future at some point. Not now. Fuck that piece of garbage. Okay, it's not a piece of garbage. I'm just being over-exaggerating. It's a very boring game to me, okay?
This has obviously angered fans that were interested in seeing Phil play Divinity Original Sin 2, as well as likely those that subbed to Phil in hopes of seeing a viewer's choice playthrough. After all, why bother participating in a viewer's choice or contributing to it if Phil is not going to do any due diligence to make sure that the playthrough won't end up being abandoned? Now, there's still a chance that Phil could get back into playing the game, but as anyone who's played a long RPG can tell you, jumping back into one after an extended absence can make things harder, and can also be used as an excuse by Phil to never get back into the game. Finally, one of the major issues Phil's viewers had was the extra emphasis on tipping, with the goal not only being raised to $200 a stream, but also Phil's constant insistence on people tipping him until YouTube paid him. While Phil maintained that once he got paid, the $200 goal would be reduced to $100, many still had their doubts, with the belief being that the payment would be less than what Phil was expecting, and or Phil would just come up with some other random excuse to justify keeping a $200 tip goal. However, on June 21st, 2021, Phil lowered the stream tip goal back to $100, claiming that he did get paid by YouTube and now did not have to rely solely on tips. However, he still hasn't updated his Patreon goals, nor has he updated his spring store with any new merchandise. Also, Phil is still pushing people to tip over every other type of contribution. If the tips goal is not reached, Phil considers it to be a failed stream. Recently, he stopped streaming in order to send out a tweet asking people to come and donate to him.
Oh my god. Well, I am going to send out a tweet, see if I can get anyone here who maybe want to come support the stream, because I don't understand what's going on tonight, quite frankly. There we go. Here we go. Ooh, my neck. Ooh. Camos, I don't care about. Just tweeting quickly. If I could tweet quickly, but I can't because my fucking thumbs always type the wrong things. Okay. Alright, I sent out a tweet. I don't know if it's going to have any effect at all. Again, guys, if you are liking the content tonight, please consider contributing. I mean, it's one of the slowest nights I've had in streaming history this year. Like, really bad. I don't know why. Because you guys seem to be liking the stream and everything. Usually that translates to people supporting. Just not tonight for some odd reason. So...
As I stated a number of times, I didn't really make the fundraising video with the intent of becoming a DSP detractor content creator. It really stemmed more from having an overwhelming desire to create something that other people could consume and learn about and possibly enjoy. Having said that, the response to the video speaks for itself, and it's obvious that the majority of my new followers and subscribers are now invested in me making more DSP related content. If I were to just go back to making the same type of content that I tried making 5 years ago when I first got onto YouTube, those people would likely leave in droves and be completely justified. So my plan for now is to make more long-form DSP related content with an emphasis on presenting them in a way, like my previous video, we don't need prior Phil knowledge to understand the video. Also, I don't plan on releasing frequent videos like what Blooper World Order, AN1337, Soma Julius Cruz, or Snort Burnell do. And this isn't meant as a slight or a dig towards them or their content. It really comes down to A, me not having enough time to do so, and B, they do a great job already, and me making the same type of content without bringing anything anything new or different is just going to muddy the waters. Some people brought up the idea of me doing documentaries on other lolcows. I don't want to say never, but the odds of me investing the type of time and resources I do in DSP to another lolcow are extremely low, with the only chance of it happening when or if DSP goes away. The whole DSP mythos and cinematic universe level of content fascinates me, which is why I feel compelled to make content about it. I can't say that right now about other lolcows like Wings or Boogie or Chris Chandler or Amberlynn Reed. My time is strapped as is, and trying to follow and make long-form content about more than one at a time is just going to lead to drawn-out, low-quality results. The tentative title of my next video is Donating to DSP for Dummies. We won't be focusing on specific past contributors, but rather what someone who has never donated to DSP should know before they plan on doing so. I'm shooting for it to be released in the third quarter of 2021. Now remember, the third quarter of 2021.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Is not the release date. It's a release window. Holy shit, people are stupid, man.
In the meantime, as some of you may have noticed, I'm getting back into game streaming. I'm still working out some of the kinks in regards to presentation, but it's definitely getting better. I'm also still working on setting up some sort of a set schedule and playstyle, but it's definitely going to be something consistent. I've had fun in the streams I've done so far, chatting and interacting with people. I'd like to continue that. As of now, the tentative schedule is about 5 nights a week from 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you made it this far, I thank you for doing so. If you enjoy my content, please like, comment, subscribe, as it does really help things grow. And I'll see you in the next video, and if not there, then maybe in the chat rooms and through the gameplay streams. That's it, Yourbeliefs signing off.